welcome everybody, remote and not remote. We've got Ben Dick, which we'll introduce in a second, but he's there lurking quietly in the background ready to do the demo. Ben, do you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
How do you do? It's very nice. I'm standing up here because I feel more important up here. Looking round, I see some old friends and other people I know. It's Colin over here, and this gentleman, Les, and Roy. I see you on Zoom there. I didn't know you was a member here. Do you let them people in from Middlesex? Yeah. Right. Thank you for having me. I'm rather surprised you've had me here tonight because I've been before. And you've invited me back. About 2 years ago I was here, and I did the Bangles. I'm really pleased to be getting out tonight because I'm in trouble with terrible trouble with the wife. It was a birthday, and I didn't get her a birthday present. I thought I was doing the right thing. Oh dear, I lost that now. I thought I was doing the right thing because she'd been looking at the television. Oh God, here we go. It's all gone wrong already. Yeah, there's no one down there, look. Anyway, put that over there. Anyway, she's not talking to me because I didn't get her a birthday present. I thought I was doing the right thing because last year she was looking at these adverts on the television for pure cremations. And she said, wow, she said, that's marvellous. She said, that's what I want. I said, what? I said, not a proper funeral. I said, you know, your friends can't all come and sort of have a drink and get drunk and say goodbye. No, she said, you can do that all afterwards. She said, all they do, they come round, they stick you in a box, take you away and burn you, and you arrange to have a party with my friends afterwards. So I thought, that's all right, you know, I'll invite all her friends, I can rent a telephone box. So anyway, it was her birthday and she wanted this, so I bought her this pure cremation. It's very reasonable, 1,500 and something quid. And she was happy with that. Anyway, this year, I didn't get her anything. And she said, why haven't you got me a birthday present? I said, you're joking. I said, you haven't bloody well used what I got you last year yet. Anyway, tonight we're going to do these little things. These are fun. This is a German idea called Turmkreisel, which translates loosely, I think, as tower top. And it spins on there, and then eventually it falls over, and it should, if we've got it right, hang on there. They're made out of 4 parts. You've got a base, you've got a stem, you've got a little handle, and you've got the toppy bit. They're very, very easy to make. And the first part of the demo is going to be making those, and the second part is going to be painting them. And as you can see, they're quite complicated. And it's painted this way first, and then it goes into this box here, which is a centrifuge. And it's spun over like that. Spots of paint go on here and they fly up the stem. It's great fun. Sorry? Now, tonight, what I'm going to do, I want to apologise. I know we've probably got a few beginners here, you know, starters. So I'm going to explain everything very simply because we've also got Les here. Okay? That's right. So if I pass this round, you can have a look at this, and we shall get cracking. These are fun. First of all, by the way, I spend most of my demonstrations looking for stuff. This is what I do in the workshop as well. This is just an overchuck. This little thing is it's like a screw chuck, but it's just got a nail sticking out of it. and a little bit of leather just to soften it. So that's, I hope to add the nails in the middle of it, or should be. Now that is going to be our chucking for a lot of the work. This is all designed, this one is designed around this chuck. So if you do it, you'll probably have to redesign it a little bit for whatever chuck you have. You've probably got a much more expensive chuck than me. I have a few instruction sheets here which you can have with cutting this on them, which show you the size of the timber. It's all made out of sycamore. So what we're going to do, I shall need a centre on that as well, if I can find one. Where is the centre? The middle bit of the centre. So what we're doing, a lot of this is held in a chuck, and some of the stuff I'm doing is a bit counterintuitive. So there it is. I'm going to put that on a... No, I'm not going to use that. I won't bother with that bit. So what that'll do, that'll just hold this in place. So what I'm going to do is turn this down to size so it'll actually fit in the chuck. Now it's going to leave tooling marks on it when I do it, but it doesn't matter, we can take them off later. What's that? 40? Oh yeah. Now, I find out that that is in the way. Look, a little rest. Let's bring it out a little bit and try again. So that just holds that on there. It's a horrible place to have a lock on it. Nah, it's not pretty good, is it? No. We'll get there. Jaw ache? Thank you very much, Les. I'm going to take Les out in the car park later and beat the living daylights out of him. You can watch if you want, I'm selling tickets. Right, let's see if we can work this. First, a couple of words about safety. You want a good pair of boots. You should really have safety boots. I can't wear them, so I'll just have a good sturdy pair of boots. Watch your hands when you're on the lathe. Don't get it up behind the rest because it will bite you. When you turn the lathe on, turn it on at a low speed, turn it up to speed. If you're doing a big bowl and you turn it on at full speed, it's going to come off and it's going to hit you or someone, and it's not good. When you're on the lathe, make sure everything's tight. Always remember, safety glass is very important. You only get 2 eyes. And also something for the dust. At home, I very often use a respirator, but a dust mask is good here. I'm not doing a lot of sanding tonight, so I might not use the dust mask just for tonight. But it's always best to. That's because I can't talk, Les. Okay. So first of all, give that a spin, make sure it's not going to catch anything. I'm going to use a coal gouge and I'm going to get this down to size. So I know that it's down to size. Here's the first thing I have, there it is. I'll set that to the size of the jaws. Here we go. Now this is faceplate turning at the moment, so you're not going to go in here with a roughing tool, roughing gouge, spin the roughing gouge. You're going to cut this from the side, okay? Just a 3/8 bowl gouge. The important thing is to get that part of the bevel in line with the cut. So if you imagine that's the cut there, that bevel's in line with the cut, so that's the angle you want to approach the wood at. So that bevel will rub along there. I'm going to take just check that. A little bit more off of there. not quite parallel, and that's cut down to size. Perfect. Okay. Switch it off. This can go out the way. Shush. I'm not going to take that off at the moment, but what I am going to do, I'm going to put that on it, because I don't mind standing up here in front of you guys, but I'm bugging sure I'm going to walk around with a big hole in my elbow. There you go. That's nice. Another safety point you need to remember is always, I mean, look at those shavings, how fine they are. Nice sharp tools. Always spend the time to get your tools right. So you're going to do, you're now going to put this in here, we're going to turn the bottom of it. It's going to be a little fancy bottom. Okay. No, not for long. There we go. Again, give it a spin, make sure it's not hitting anything. On we go. I have a little bit more speed. I'm going to make a little cut across here. Just to smooth that out. I'm going to dish it slightly because you don't want it to rock. So it just needs a slight undercut there. What you do, you hold your tool across there, maybe a little bit more in the middle. Okay. That's the bottom of it. Take this back. I'm just going to make a couple of little cuts in here, just so they can see you've taken care of the bottom. I don't like to see bits of baize on the bottom of things. Okay. Now what we're going to do is just to sand that up, because you're not going to get to this piece again, so this has to be sanded now. I'll have a look. I'll start at 180. Always support with your wrist when you do this. And I'm going to take the corn off that as well. Let's have a look and see how that is. Well, that one. That looks all right to me. Right, I'm going to go down to 320. You don't want to go any further than that because you're going to paint this. So you need a bit of a key. In fact, 250 would be enough. Always sand from the outside to the inside to the outside. And that's it. So that's that little bit. Now this is the outside of it. Did I pass that round for you to see, that top? I did. Yeah. It's going to make marks on here because we're holding it in the chuck, but we can move them off later. So you don't need to worry about that. Now what we're going to do, we're going to drill it. This is the hole which will be the mortise, which will hold the and that will hold the stem of the. That's it. So here we go. We've got a knocking stick here. Come here, you beast. Well, I'm just going to take this to the, it's a 15mm fours and a bit, and I'm going to take it to the depth of the bit, which is about 10mm, which is plenty. Like that. turn the speed down a little bit. Don't want it too fast. When you do this, always hold the chuck, otherwise then it's spinning. I'm not happy with that. That's the way, is it? It is, yeah. When I come in here this evening, I saw you sitting there, I think, oh thank God Liz is here. So that's that. Let me sit there. So that's really where your little stem goes. So what I'm going to do is I'll fatten around. I went in 10 mil, which is the depth of that. I don't think I've gone all the way through. No, I haven't. Oh, I should have added that these blanks, I've got another one there, they have got a little hole in them, which I drill first. And that's for chucking it all the way through. Very easy way of doing it. Up we go. Just flatten that up. I'm going to undercut it slightly, so we don't get a joint round there. I'm not going to bother to sand that. It goes back on here. It's so much quicker if you're making a dozen of these at a time. Sycamore I use, which is nice, it turns nicely, and it's very good for painting. It paints up nicely. So back with that. That's just a little thing. One of the jobs that does is comes up against there, and it should fit in there, if I've got it right. Yeah. There. That's it. So on we go again. What we're going to do is just put a little bevel on that, and that's done. I'm cutting up grain here, so I'm going to have a look at it and see what the cut's like. If it's not, I'm going to bring it back the other way, but it looks to me, that looks fine. I'm going to take it a little bit more actually. Again, the bevel in line with the cut. You always have the bevel in line with the cut. So that basically is the thing done. So what I need to do with that is just tidy that. Where I've had it held in the chuck, I'm going to just tidy that up. That's better, I'm getting there now. Okay. What I'm going to do is put a shear cut on this, so it's with the handle down and it's just cut with the wing. Yeah. You silly thing. That's it. Okay. That's it. Again, I'm going to sand that. Let's have a little look at it. I think we'll start that. We'll start that with 240, I think it'll be enough for that. Sorry? You could turn it in one piece. I don't like wasting timber. You get. It's more economical to turn it like this. The sycamores getting very difficult to get hold of. There we go. I'm pretty sure that's all right. Now you do get another opportunity to sand this if you want. Yeah, that's right. Do you want to look? The next thing we do, we work from the bottom, we're working to the top. So what we're going to do next, we're going to do the stem. Again a piece of sycamore. I'm not going to mark up the edge, I'm going to do it with this. So we know that that's central. Now, this needs to be nice and tight. So give it a good swash. I'm not. No. I'm going to drill it. Oh, come on. I'm going to drill it. I'm going to put a 15mm hole in the end. If you look at the top that come round, you see it's got a little cup in it, which is where the... Oh, we've got a knockout bar. It would save me a week's work. Is there? This side to front? Oh, lovely, thank you. Army front. Now, the measurements are on here, how far I go down. I think it's about 5mm. So that's about half the depth of the bit. So, yeah, that can live there, can't it? So, okay. So, here we go. That's right. Lovely. Okay, switch them off. Now I have here a little 1/4 inch skew. Your bit, it leaves a little hole in the bottom. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tidy that up with a 1/4 inch round skew. If you don't do it, it'll still work. So you want that just below centre. And we want a little bit of speed on it. Will you catch it if it... Thank you very much. Nice gentle cut. Use a bit lower. Come back. that's about it. And that just tidies the bottom of it up. You should have that nice and tidy. You can have a little feel in there to see. Yeah, that should be okay. And that should be enough just to hold the top when it goes. Just a little bit. A little sand in there. I've actually got a little sander for that. Thank you. When I make these, before I send them, I put a lacquer on them, and then what I tend to do is just pop a little bit of wax in there, makes it work a bit better. There it is. I told you I spent all night looking for stuff, didn't I? So that's that.
You told me this afternoon you was ready.
Right?
You said this afternoon you got it all sorted.
I've got it all sorted. I don't you start. I was enough with Alexander here without you starting. I don't two of you. I don't want two of you getting on me. There are measurements on that piece of paper, but I'm not going to use them because I don't like being conforming to. Ah, there it is. Like that, if I've got it right, just sits over there. This is just to steady the thing as we turn it. It saves any vibration and needs while doing it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rough that down now. Now I'm going to use a roughing gouge just to get that to round. A little bit high. We'll come in a little bit and get a bit lower. There you go. Lovely. Now I'm going to measure. So I want a pencil. Let's have a look and see what the measurement is. It's 90 mil. So I've got a vernier gauge there and a pencil. So the height of that is no, it's not, it's 90, it's 105 mil, including the stem, I think. No, it can't be. Sorry, I'm going to have to measure one. I think the drawing might be wrong. Let's take them with me. It's about 110. Which is not what it says on the paper. So that's 110. It is. It's about there. Okay. So that is where the tenon's going to start. There. So that's what we're going to turn down to. So We're going to come into about 115 mil there, about 15 mil. Let's see what we're going to do. Let's put parting cut on that first. Parting tool, there it is. About 15 mil, we're going to put a cut there. That'll do. And we're going to put a cove on there. Yeah. That's about right. Okay. And that's to there. Okay. We'll make the stem. You can do this with a skew, you can do it with a spindle gouge, you can do it with a bowl gouge. This is as good as anything. Okay, we've got that done. I'm going to cut the mortise on there. Let's just stop that a minute and bring this up a little bit. Okay. Remember to undercut that a little bit. It's undercut there so it fits nicely onto the stem. I've got a little time saver, it's a 15mm spanner. It is 15mm already. So that's that. So, did you see that? It's a spanner but it's cut with a cutting edge on it. It's very doing quick spigots. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this onto there, and then I'll get the exact size of that spigot then. So there we go. That's fine. Then we just pass it off. So remember, we've got a gap that's about 10mm there, haven't we? So, let's give it a sand. I've got to shape that a little bit, so I'm going to start off at 180. That needs a little bit of a shape up. You can, of course, move the, for safety, if you're not confident, move that right out the way before you sand. Some of the work I do is production turning, so we don't like to move the rest. Hang on. Should. That's the first bit. What time do you stop for a break? Sorry? Oh, yeah. Right. That should do it. I'm being very good at stopping the lathe before I move the rest. Take him out. And off we come. There. So with a bit of luck, it should. It's a little bit loose, but that little bit of looseness, it's where the glue goes. Yeah. So that's your little base. So you'll stand that there. I'll glue that in a minute. Now, do you want to have a look at that? You want to have a look at it? You might as well. So you can look at that if you're getting bored when I'm doing this. Oh. Yeah. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to cut the little handle. Cut the little knob and the handle. Let's bring that up. That's about middle for diddle. Again, you're holding a square in the chuck, so nice and tight, so it doesn't wriggle about. Lovely. So this is going to be just a little handle. Okay. So I've got a little point on the end. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make a mark on that for where the finial is going to go, where the little mortise is going to go. If I can take the measurement. That's about 38 mil. So let's mark that. Which is there. And that's your little mortise. So, what I'm going to do is going to mark that first. Now that's going to vibrate and wobble about like a good one, isn't it? If we try and, now we cut that down. So this has got a little dimple in it. So all we need to do is bring that up to it and just hold him steady. Easy peasy. So now what we do is shape the little handle, and because we've got that held nice and firm, we can be quite aggressive with it. We don't have to be that gentle. I'm much better at aggressive than I am gentle. Now that's a 6mm spigot on there, so I have here somewhere, and it is hiding somewhere, a little 6mm spanner. What? So what we do, we go on there, what I'm going to do is there, just put a little cove on that. And that's it. Again, we go to the sandpaper. I think 240 would be fine for that. Get him out of the way. And then we'll have it off. Stop the lathe, be good. It's very difficult demonstrating because you've got to try and not do all the nasty habits you do at home. I mean, it's safe doing them at home because if you're experienced enough, we're just going to part this off with a skew chisel. I understand we have a member here, Raymond, is it? Is it Ray? Who loves skew chisels. Is that you?
They're only good enough. The only thing a skew chisel is good for is only
Oh, I was warned about you. There's your little handle. Do you need to look at that? Don't think so really, do you? How long we got? Oh, we've just about got time. What time do we stop? 8:30? Right. We might run a little bit over because we were late starting, weren't we? And I probably did too much waffling. That looks alright. Now this is going to be the little toppy bit. They don't take very long. Bum bum bum. Lovely. Perfect. Perfect. This is a little, you've seen the other one, this is a little bit that hangs onto the tower when it goes. And I have a little 13mm spanner that does that as well. It's already there. Now what we do, it's got a little hollow that sits, doesn't get in the way of the top of the tower, if that makes any sense. And that's what we're going to put in next. In fact, I'm not. I'm going to see what we're going to do. I'm going to make a little point on it next. No, not quite. Spot on. So, can you see that on there? We're just uncutting a little button, undercutting that. That's what's going to sit on the. And come nearly up to there. A little bit of difficulty seeing this. Now, here I have a very expensive special tool. What is this? It's just a little tiny scraper. The only thing I use it for is digging out the insides of this. Very expensive. Actually, it's not. I don't like spending money, but I'm lucky. I've got a sister-in-law who's a dental nurse, and she gets me dental picks. And the quality of the metals is fantastic. They're surgical steel, a lot of them, and they're perfect for this. So what we're going to do, you just use that as a nice scraper. It's fairly good, this, as long as you keep the scraper nice and sharp. That's the secret of it. It has to be sharp, otherwise it. I'll pass it round. Plenty of speed. Now, can you see the fine cuts it makes? Beautiful. And that's it. Now what we're going to do, is everybody with us so far? Any questions? Someone's trying to ask a question.
I was just now, when you was on about sanding earlier, and saying about the dust. Is that when you're sanding, your face is only about a foot away from what you're sanding?
Yeah,
Why?
it's not bad. It's only a tiny little bit of dust. It's.
Yeah, I know that, but you're right on it.
My wife would tell me off, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
And quite rightly so. What we're doing, we're making just the bottom half of the top. I'll show you what we do in a minute. It's just like turning a cove. So as you come, you turn the chisel into it and you bring the heel round so the bevel can actually cover that, and that will give you a nice little cut. Exactly the same as any cove. I don't actually breathe anything in because I don't know if you know this, when I do this, I've always got my tongue sticking out and it sticks to my tongue. That's 240. That is not going to be painted in there, so I'm going to go 320 with that, just to make it a little bit finer. I just burnt myself on it, which is a very silly thing to do. Okay. Are you getting for your coffee and your tea?
Quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is this an end grain or something like
It's all in grey,
apart from paint?
except for the. Now it's going to mark this very slightly. It doesn't really matter. Because we're going to sand it after us anyways. Just that edge when we get it together. So we don't go jumping. I haven't timed it very tight. My favourite tool, bar down. Okay, it's working now. Oh. So let's turn that down a little bit. And what we're going to do, put a little hole in there. That's it. Done. Sorry? A little bit deeper than the 10 un. 10's probably about 5 mil, that's probably about 6 or 7. Just as long as it's a little bit deeper. What I'm going to do, to make sure I get that nice and square, I'll stick that in, because if it's not square it don't spin right. Have you got my little... On the box. There you go. So that should fit on there. It's a little loose. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, 10, 15 minutes as max, and then we'll do the judging. So, coffee, and yourself out for a cup of coffee. Thank you, Ben, for the first half. Excellent, well done. I enjoyed watching the back of the recording.
Right.
Is this all make yourself, especially for this?
Yeah.
Yes. Camera 4. Okay, so it was quite a difficult one. Most of the judging today has been quite difficult to try and work out the difference between first, second and third. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. It's a question, is the piece a pleasing piece? This one is first. I'm not quite sure what the wood is because I haven't looked, but I just like the shape. I thought it was an effective bowl. There's no obvious blemishes inside. The colouring hadn't bled. The bottom's nicely finished. There's no obvious tool marks, and the consistency of the thickness is good, and nice little robust burn line matching at the bottom. If there was any slight comment, not sure whose this was, it would be that maybe the bottom is just a little heavy in terms of proportion. Whose is it? Clive's. It's all subjective, but the old golden mean rules of thirds is that if it's a practical bowl, that's perfect. So I'm going to crack on. You will, by the way, notice that what I'm saying and what's happening is about 2 seconds out. That's because this is a wireless connection. Okay, so first, it was a tight run thing. Then we had these two. Now this is an issue about remote judging and judging in person. When we've been doing remote judging, we've been allowed to read a snippet about the background of how a piece was made. Up until now, when we've been doing the table judging, it's just the piece that you look at. So you look at these two, and how was that made? I first of all thought it was carved, but it's not. It's been turned, multiple axis offset something or others, and then cut out of a large piece. Both of these, though, suffer a little from my preference, which is that when you've coloured something, you endeavour to make sure that the viewer, when looking at it, can actually see that it's wood, not just by turning it over. And it's just a personal issue. So whereas this one, it's wood with colour, and I like the balance. This one, very well executed for a beginner. It's very tricky because this edge here is extremely difficult. Whose was this, by the way? Well done. Well, for you as a real beginner. I'm just saying,
My wife is not a beginner.
it's a minor miracle and you were cheating.
I didn't get clipped by it either. That's my first one. And you've still got your fingernails.
So in detail, you can see that there's, that you need to develop the skill of getting around the edge, and that's mainly by having it turning much faster than you feel comfortable with. But you got even thickness, which was good, and yeah, it's a nice piece. I would have just preferred to have seen something that showed me that it was wood from the top. And this one, again, it's a real challenge. It still doesn't yell turning. It's a nice piece, nicely coloured. I feel that the really nice smooth beech bottom has lost its way a little bit with the textured paint because you've got quite a series of layers of paint dragged back, which is a great effect, but it doesn't come out quite as smooth. But anyway, equal second on those ones, don't spend too much longer on them. These two, again, a tough call. It's a mixture of turning skills and how pleasing they appear to be. This one came first because I thought it was a sweet little item. Whose was it, by the way? Oh, sweet little item. No, it wasn't Clyde, it was crap. Couple of minor issues with it. One is this is a really nice flowing curve, hard to do. Nicely finished inside, no obvious blemishes, shows the grain off nicely. But because this is not a knob that you can lift up, you've got to actually hold it. The tenon is rather small, so it's actually, when you pick it up, it slops off. So if you're going to have not a pop fit, which probably is the best thing anyway, because the pop fit goes after 2 weeks, then just have a slightly larger tenon so that it actually stays stable in its own right. But it was a very pleasing little item with quite a nice amount of turning and no obvious blemishes. This one, see, it's just fallen off. Nice little natural edge bowl. Quite a lot of work done to make sure that the fretting that you tend to get at the edges is mainly gone. It's got a nice fat finish. Slight belly at the bottom, slight dimple. But for a beginner, don't have a problem with that. Thickness is quite consistent all round. Maybe the profile could have been a bit thinner towards the bottom, back on the golden mean rule. But nice little piece. There was a bit more turning involved in that, so it was very close.
Blame the tutor.
Yeah, I was the tutor. So I will hold for you.
Oh, thank you. Right, so this was the first one, which was the Stuart Farini inspired ash bowl. It was really looks like it's really nicely turned. We did zoom in and have a good look. We all liked this finish on here, all the painting detail. Felt it fell a bit short here. It's very sort of very straight edged, and it's got quite a thick base.
Quite a wide base, wasn't
Quite a
it?
wide
Back to the
base.
same comments as
same
before.
Sort of comments.
Yeah. Whose was that, by the way?
That
We
was,
probably
I don't know. It's online.
no. And,
I don't know whose
and the
it
signal's
was.
gone.
Rex
On that.
might remember.
Could be Paul Williamson, maybe.
Might be
Don't know.
Paul's. Yeah, it was quite nice. So we marked that one first. So these two we had equal second. There were both issues with both of them, and so take this one first. This is lovely. It's really nice, and looks like it's done with twisted wire. Whose is this one? Sorry, who was that?
Oh, yours. Oh, well done.
But there's some missing. There are some bits missing here. Although this is really tricky to do, I think. I've not tried it yet. And also there's some stone chipping, but again, really tricky to do. A lot of work in it. We did felt it sort of would have been better turned to have been in a bit more to form the shape, but I think we thought you were probably concentrating on this bit as opposed to the turning of the shape of the bowl. And this one, so that was equal second with this
Small
one.
hint of dog bowl.
Small hint of dog bowl. His favourite term. It's his favourite
Or
term.
ashtray.
Ashtray. Yes, it felt make a good ashtray. So this one here, it's very nicely turned.
And a
Very,
bit
sorry,
sexy.
nice. I can't see. It's very nicely turned. Very nice shape. Like the bottom on here. Very well done. We did feel that this bit let it down. Apparently, it's meant to be the rising sun, but it bled a bit. But nicely done here. There's a mark around here, so I think it probably needed a bit more sanding. But overall, really nice piece. But we felt they came second.
Yeah, and just a small point on that,
Because
just for a sec, was that the real way to make this really get to the high score points is to get the profile of the outside matched on the inside of the foot, so that you appears like this is stuck on. So one continuous profile with a little foot sticking on the outside. Look at a Japanese bowl. That's how they do them. That's when you get the real top points.
Yeah. What I would like to say before I go on is, I don't know if you noticed, but Malcolm did all the beginners, and that's because I've got a piece in the theme and a piece in the open, so I kept well away from it, just like we did when we judged it in the virtual world. Yeah, that's not true.
Right, go to the uterus.
Absolutely. This has been nicknamed the uterus. Not my nickname.
Who did it? Who did it?
It was
Oh, well done.
so, not much to say about it. Apparently, it was a piece of crotchwood. So, and John turned it as an experiment. I must admit, I quite like the colouring here.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Yes, exactly.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
And not easy to do.
Not easy to do. No, but
we did ask why you bothered.
Yeah, we
you know,
did. Just for a laugh. He's a bit in for a laugh. Just wanted to see what it.
Yes, I know. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Apparently his daughter's a midwife, and that's why the name uterus.
Yeah.
But I can't
Very
suggest-
obvious reasons.
suggest it came from Woomera.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible.
But you try and turn it, and it's hard.
But compared to the others, it's an obvious fourth place, I'm afraid, John. Right. So to the open. This one.
Oh, sorry.
Where's my bit of
Hold on,
paper?
I'll
Who's
put
nicked
this
it?
down.
I've nicked the bit. I've lost a piece of paper. Advanced open.
I don't know where the piece of paper went.
No, somebody's nicked it again. Advanced open. Was that this one? Is that flask? Yeah, hold on. Yeah, advanced open was the flask.
Okay.
Okay, which was second.
See that?
So, yeah, so,
Yes.
yeah, that's it, thank you. So this was the first place. It's very nicely turned. There is some issues with it at the bottom, but pointed out it is very deep. So, but it looks like where they've had jam chuck in and there it's burnt the bottom, or marked the bottom. It's quite thick, it's quite chunky. A bit thick for as a drinking vessel maybe, but actually nice as a pot. Okay, so that was found. We quite like this. This is colouring here.
Whose was that, by the way?
Is it done?
Oh, well done.
Was it done with the
Post-uterus
wild wool and
mode.
vinegar?
Post-uterus.
Was it done with? Is it done with the wild wool and the vinegar?
No, it's burnt.
Oh, is it? Burnt. That's really good. Excellent. And then filled in with, is that the silver?
Resin.
The silver resin stuff. Yeah. So is this? We weren't quite sure if that was filled in, or whether you spilt it.
No, it cracked.
Oh, it cracked. Oh, right. Okay. But yeah, very nice.
Inside is the burn from
Yeah.
the
So.
drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Spinning.
That's what
Oh,
we
yeah,
thought.
yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah.
didn't put a piece of
No.
stuff in between. Yeah, I've done that before. Pain in the neck, isn't it?
We'll cut
Really
the
cut
centre
through
Oh,
it.
got it. So this is the came second, which was the rustic flask. Okay. It's the base. The base is really nice, and you can see where it's been cut there for the finial on the top. But the thing that we thought let it down slightly was the finial, where the finial joins the base. The finial joins the base. We felt it probably would have looked a lot better if either the finial had started there at the bottom of the bowl, or had started there underneath the pyrography. And it just needed to be a bit sort of narrower, really.
Yeah, we
felt
felt it
form
was
wasn't
halfway
quite
between
right.
two different types of form. One which you
Yeah.
could have had more of an oval flask,
Yeah.
like medieval wine flask bottom with a top, or as this wasn't that, it was flowing. The flow got lost because the bulbous neck, so you didn't end up with a comfortable marriage between the finial and the top. But we recognised there was a lot of work
Yeah.
involved in doing it.
So
Was it? Right.
that was Paul's, right? If you look at the other one online, which was the flying saucer, and you see the difference with that finial, you'll see what I mean about the difference. Okay, and so that was second. So this one came third. There's quite a lot of tool marks in this at the base here. It's also, we felt it was, it's a sort of easy way to make it look thinner. So it's thicker than it really looks.
Whose was this?
Who's-
Oh.
So it looks thinner than it really is. And also, something's happened at the bottom. We're not sure if that's tool chatter, or was it an attempt to mark the texture of the bottom? But it missed. Put tool chatter then, which was very unfortunate.
Yeah, and I would just say that the shape is getting there,
It is.
but if you'd been able to keep it close to the same
Yeah.
thickness all the way down, you could then have removed the mortise and actually had a nice little tenon or a little bottom that it sat on to get the shadow gap, and it just makes it that much more elegant. It's just that extra little bit of hard work to get that consistency. So we're then on to, there's only two pieces here. We've got it's probably the last item.
This is, whoops. Okay, so first, are you going to do this one?
Yeah, I said I'd do this one, but I don't mind. So this one came first. There's a lot of work involved in the router jig, I guess, but I haven't looked. This was probably Mr. Skoltok, who probably can't reply because we've lost the sound. Some great work in this, but also particularly the details of the finishes. This sort of slightly rusty textured, multi-coloured finish on some very crisp routing. The combination of the two is really good. And equally the detailing here of the finial base with a little spiral. Sorry guys, sorry, can I talk without you please? I'm the chairman, so... very nice little spiral detail, very tight detailing, nice bit of knurling and some little lines underneath, which, the combination of the detailing is excellent. So, and on top of that, you've got some nice little fresh detailing at the bottom as well. So an excellent piece. This one is possibly dry enough for me to pick up. Whose was this? So, could I ask you to hold the mic?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
It's not finished.
No.
Yeah.
So comments about it as it is. So you've got the hot melt glue finish at the top, which is a great bit of fun. The colouring and everything is working together. In the form, I can see that there's some orange peel at the bottom and you've got several layers to cut back, blah, blah, I realise that. Just in terms of commenting about the form as it is, I don't know, there's quite a tendency, a trend at the moment, to having like a simple bowl out of a big piece of wood and having very thick sides. And I'm not so sure about that, because either you do it like Stuart Farini might do with a little scallop out in the middle and it's all at the top, or if you're doing something like this, it's a question. I would tend to say, well, let's go for the same thickness all the way around, do an undercut, get yourself back and then follow the profile, and then you've got a relatively consistent thickness and you challenge yourself having an undercut, which is also great because you can lift it and pick it up. Proportionately, you've got a nice solid base. If it's a practical bowl, you want a nice big base. If it's a decorative bowl where it's highlighting all the beautiful finishes, then you've got to challenge yourself and say, should it come down a bit more so it's a bit thinner at the bottom. But if you've done an undercut, got it sweeping down a little bit, it would change the form completely. It may not be what you like. Anyway, it's a comment. So there we go.
And the last one.
Have we got one more?
Yeah, that's the only open one.
So what's this one? I've lost the plot.
This is Masters Open. It's the only.
Oh, sorry.
First open.
Yeah, you've done that. No, you've done that.
Yeah, the second.
Oh, hold on. No, that's second.
That was second.
That was the
Then
online
you've
one.
got first open over there.
First open over there. So
Yeah,
that's the only open.
which is the only piece that was submitted. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
So,
and it's just a very nice,
the finial there.
very nice finial, very nicely detailed, nice proportions,
Full stop top
nicely
again,
hollowed
obviously.
out. I don't know who did it. And the profile, which is a shame it's the smallest picture because it's the most important one to look at. You did this one. I was just saying. Where does the biro go? In the top end there?
Yeah, I thought the shape with this, the line here, was really good. It definitely follows the thirds and triangles.
Yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of issues that you could argue. The onion bowl could be argued as a bit big for the base of the finial. If you go to Cindy Drozder's rule, that is too big relative to that. You could argue that the flow of the form from the side through the top, if you want to make it distinctly two different profiles, that's fine. But you could argue that you would like to see a nice sweeping profile all the way through. Your point is it looks good to start with. If you really break it down and you want to be really critical, you could probably work out a way of making that slightly more flowing. But if the aim is to make the top look like it's going to come off because it's a flying saucer, fine.
Yeah.
Nice detailing,
Beautiful.
and it's all.
Like that.
Yeah. There you go. That's it. Sorry, take too long.
Right, that's it.
Right. Spin that up. Use any colours you want on these. This one's just painted round the stem. You can use any colours you like. I like to put a light one on first, and then the darker one. So I'm going to use green and yellow on this one. Red and white works well, black and yellow works well. Oh God, I've just done the wrong one. Sorry? At this stage 2. That's all I do on that. So we're going to switch that one off. That's it. And then what we do, I use a little dental pick, a very expensive dental pick, to take this off. And I'm going to stand it there. Now that's that little jig again to hold it. So I'll finish with that now. So that just holds the little hole in the bottom of the top. Not the top of the bottom of the top. So, and this one is another, it's just a little socket on that one. And that holds the little button, the bottom of the top. Top of the bottom. Oh, I don't know. That holds that there. So, now this is this will set out. So that's the first part of the painting, which we do like that. Just do it slowly. Wash him out. Dry him on a bit of tissue. And we do the same with this, just highlight it with a little bit of green on here. And that is the first bit of the painting. Did it. Oops. That can go in there. So as I say, they're just ordinary Daler Rowney colours. The easiest way to take these out is just with a pair of long nose pliers. and that'll stand there. Now, we're going to let that dry for a little bit before we do the next bit. So, I'm going to chat to you about my other bits and bobs. Oh, I'll tell you what I want. I want my little comb. Just get this ready to go. What I'm doing, I'm allowing that just to dry up a little bit before we carry on. But I'll talk about the rest of my work just for a minute to tell you what we got. Boom, boom. So, some of you have seen this. These are the bangles. You're now seeing this. This is another one of the demos that I do. There's these raised spots. It's a Japanese thing. It's called ukibori, and it's what it is. They Japanese use it on their little figures, their netsuke, and which is made of bone or ivory. And the way it's done is by punching little holes in it. It looks like they're punched. They're actually ground out, but you punch little dents all over the bowl where you want them, and then the bowl is turned down to the bottom of the dents, and then you steam it, and where you've punched the little holes in, they come up as little bumps. So it's like the bowl's got measles. So that's another demo I do. I've just recently done one of those for some people, and the people said, "Oh, I'm just about to go off to do it," and they said, "Well, we don't want any colouring." Now, normally with that one, I'll do the second half. I'll do a bit of colouring just to fill in the time, gold leafing and different decorating techniques, this sort of thing. So I couldn't do that. So what I did one of these instead, which is just a little bowl. It sits on its wings. So that's another bits and pieces I do. So that's wasted a bit of time. We can go back to this. So thank you. With a little bit of patience, this is a homemade centrifuge. Now, I'm sure you all know what a centrifuge is. Do you? It's that weird thing that they put astronauts in to make them sick. So it'll spin these things round. So the idea is, that should do me. The idea is, that's it. What? No, I don't. I can't because I've got to use the towel stock. So here we go. So this thing is for safety. This is so we don't paint your hall, and should something come out of here, it comes out with a hell of a force. I've got one of these made out of thin ply, and one of those tops actually went right through the ply from this. So it's a safety thing, so we don't end up with one of these stuck in our arm or something. And this is the device that spins around. That goes there. That goes in the middle for diddle. Right. This comes while I mount that up. So this is a little This is a little device that will hold those tops. Anybody fancies a go at this, they can photograph this afterwards. It's just, I don't know if you can see that, it's just carved out, so it just holds a little button at the top. I don't know if you can you see that? Yeah, that should be, that's fairly dry, so that should be all right now. So, we normally leave this a little bit longer to dry off. If I was doing it at home, I'd do. Oh, let me get it because it's careful how you pick it up because it's got wet paint on it. Yeah, yeah, that's all right. How the hell did I manage that? It wasn't in. Language, Timothy. There we go. So there's nothing. That's it. So we tighten that up, and that could spin round, so we can put spots of paint on it. So now we're going to decide what colour paint we're going to use. So I'm going to use. We've got green on it already. Who said green? Red. You want red? Red. I'm sorry, I'll have to charge more for red. Yeah. So, a little bit of paint. We use that. I've got a special brush for that, if I can find it. Red one. Oh, bloody hell. I will find it. Eventually. Let's try that one. Now, this paint needs to be a little bit runny so it runs up the stem there. Oh, what am I doing? Stupid boy. So put a bit of flow medium in. This just waters it down a little bit. So put a little bit of flow medium in there. That's too much. I've overdone it. A bit more red in it. We mix that in. No, far too bloody much, I think. Let's try that. That's right. And the idea is, we're right at the time. The idea is to just put a few dots round here, so we can hold it like that. And it's going to be nice, thick blobs. Okay. Now, if we've got this right, would the people here like to move? I'm going to start it off slow, and the idea is we turn it up. That's about 2,500 revs per minute. Now you can imagine what's going to happen if that uncome done. What colour are we going to do now? Blue. You sure? Oxford blue or? No, Cambridge blue. Right, Oxford blue, that is then. Yeah, I don't know. All the faffing about with this, you can see why I like to do a bunch of them.
When you've done a bunch of them, do you get sponsored before you guys?
Mix it up. Let's see what we're doing. Right. Now we go on top of them. There. We take that up about £2.5 grand. Oh, just looks like a blotch. Now I'm going to put some in between there. We want one more colour. Orange. Yeah, needs something brighter, doesn't it?
Have you tried flicking paint at it whilst it's moving?
Right, you can come and try that. Yeah. Orange. Orange, I've got to find. Oh, I've run out of orange. I know I've got a big orange here. Truth. It's a. Shall we do yellow? You want orange? It's not a very bold orange. You've got orange now. You can't just go changing your mind like that. I'll do, but I won't put too much flow medium in it. So there, we're right at the time, we're right at the time. Yeah, this will brighten it up a bit, won't it? Could have done with a bit more flow medium in it, I think. What did you say? Like watching paint dry. I'm going around all it, so. Here we go. I'll let it spin a bit. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some little silvery dots on them, I think. That'll finish, or gold. Gold or silver? Silver. Real silver. Let's see what we got. These are my favourite. These are Joe Sonia's paints. I like these. And all we're doing, we're just trying to dry this off a little bit at the moment. And all we're going to do now, we're going to put a blob of silver on each one, but we're not going to spin it. These are great fun if you've got the patience to faff around for hours. Can you see that? And that's it. So what we do now, we take that out. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we're doing all right the time, aren't we? I don't think I'm going to have to keep you, make you stay behind. So that's that one. So I'm going to leave that there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this apart, so if anybody wants to photograph this, they can. Put that there, otherwise I'm going to knock it on the floor, because I'm good at things like that. So that's that jig. The other one's even more exciting. Look at that. That one goes in there. I have to work out. I've got an Axminster 115. Is it the big Axminster chuck? And I've got this one, which is a Nova chuck. Well, I've got several chucks. But the blooming problem is they tighten up different ways. You always have to work out which way they tighten. Good up. Right? Okay. Tighten that up. No, it's the other way. I think. Yeah. It's not very difficult to confuse me. I'm easily confused. Now that should be sort of dry enough now. It might mark it a little bit, but we'll worry about that later. So this, come here. If the bits are going to fly off one of them, it'll be this one. And that one there. How's that? That's all right. So, which one was it first? Was it the blue? We did blue first, didn't we? Red first. That's a ridiculous colour to use, stupid. So red. It works even better on the top bit. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to move this before I forget. There you go. Give you a bit more. Seven. Are you ready? What was that? Oh, that's what nice. Now we're going to do the blue one. Damn the expense, I'm going to have a new bit of kitchen roll. Blue. Blue. Too much.
Because of the time that you spend on painting them, Ben, how much can you charge for them?
£3,000. Not enough.
You wouldn't be selling many of them at that price either.
Nah. I sell them for 25 quid. Not really worth doing. But they're fun. Now green, is it? Have I got that right? If you look at these things, you'll see that, sorry? Orange. Green, oh, of course it is. Of course it is. I wanted a bit more gloop in that, didn't I? Yeah, they're, if you're doing 10 of them at a time, they're just about worth doing for 25 quid. I mean, if you're doing 10 of them at a time, it doesn't, I mean, I've stood here fighting around with this for, what, 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. It wouldn't take you that long if you know, you were doing doing a bunch of them. And if you're doing a lot of them, you do all the tops, and then you do all the stands, and you know. Oh look, dirty beast. Never mind. Let's have a look. There you go. That's spread up quite nicely. I'm going to leave that turning to let it dry a little bit. Before I put the silver on, I'm going to leave it a bit. Have you got any questions? No. The silver, I use Joe Sonia paints, the flow medium's Joe Sonia, the silver paint, the metallics of Joe Sonia. I use iridescent paints, Joe Sonia's. The rest of my paints are Dale Rowney, mainly Dale Rowney. Just ordinary Arctic System 3 acrylics, good quality acrylics. Because I'm an artist now, because I belong to an art society. I'm their wood turner. So I'm a proper artist now, you see. Sorry? Yeah, thank you very much. I'm probably the biggest artist of the lot. Right, what I do, I will take these home now and I will spray them with chestnut sanding sealer, and then I'll give them 1 or 2 coats of I don't use the chestnut or the Mylands lacquer. I use a car lacquer. It's Pro X car lacquer. I find the quality it's better. Slightly dearer, but it goes further. And I use that on it. I use that on most of my stuff that's lacquered. It's not cheap. It's about 16 quid a tin, but it goes a long way. And that's what I do. Give you a couple of coats of that and it's ready to go. Sorry? This underneath, it's got it has a counterweight, yeah, it's counterbalanced. And this piece as well, if you see, it's got a load of washers on it to counterbalance it. Yeah, this isn't as well balanced as that other one, mind. But you do need some sort of counterbalance on it, or it shakes the ruddy thing, shakes the lathe to death. Looks like my dog when he's got a squirrel, if he don't get the balance right. And what we're going to do, we're going to leave this to dry now. And that is it, gentlemen. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the jigs, the different jigs I've used up here somewhere. So if you want to come and photograph the jigs, you can. If you want to have a go at this, and you're not sure about how to go about anything, I do not mind at all if you want to phone me and ask me. I will send you pictures, I will give you advice. All my advice is guaranteed to be bad. But, you know, if you do need a hand, just give us a shout. And if you do make some, I would like you to send me a picture.
Well, I'm just going to say thank you, Ben, on behalf of everybody. Excellent top performance tonight.